Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Potential disaster. Turkey invading northern Syria. And the Kurds, our major ally against ISIS, in the crosshairs. The big question, if Turkey does invade Syria, what will the U.S. do? Chris Mitchell brings us his disturbing report from Jerusalem.
Turkey's President Erdogan told the world at the recent UN General Assembly what he wants to do in northeast Syria.
Here I'd like to show you a map briefing our plans. This is the border of Turkey that you can see, and below you can see the proposed safe zone. If this safe zone, the secure zone, can be declared, we can resettle confidently somewhere between 1 million to 2 million refugees.
Following his UN speech, Erdogan told Turkey's parliament that he might have no choice but to act unilaterally to create a safe zone in northeast Syria. But a military invasion and the resettling of up to 2 million refugees represents an existential threat to the Syrian Democratic Forces, the major ally of the U.S. in the battle against ISIS and its newly formed democratic government.
I think it's very much a threat to them.
Middle East expert Seth Frantzman says Turkey would like to do to northeast Syria what it did in the city of Afrin.
Turkey invaded the area and destroyed the YPG, and I think it's partly destroyed part of Afrin. So I think in a sense that's the model for what Turkey wants to do. Turkey views Afrin as a success, but for the Kurdish point of view, I think it was a total disaster.
The Turkish invasion of Afrin ethnically cleansed hundreds of thousands of Kurds, hunted down Christians, and burned churches. Frantzman says if Turkey does invade northeast Syria like it did in Afrin, it could turn the Middle East upside down.
If Turkey really decides to go in, the U.S. will withdraw. So that means you have this weird chaos where Turkey is going in, Americans are leaving. Well, obviously, when there's a vacuum, other people have to rush in. So that would mean the Syrian regime, the Russians, the Iranians, and also I think ISIS trying to exploit that. So that would be a huge amount of instability.
And all this happening while Washington and the White House are consumed by impeachment.
It's the worst possible time for the U.S. to be totally distracted by this impeachment issue. There's so many boiling kettles in the Middle East, and yet no cook to really deal with all of them.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have said it, unsaid it again. There are 36 million Kurds. They are our allies. They are strong supporters of the democratic process. They're absolutely wonderful people, and they occupy a major portion of land. What I think the United States should do is recognize the sovereign nation of Kurdistan and to say these borders are the province of, just like the declaration, the Balfour Declaration that said this land should belong to Israel, this land should belong to the Kurds, and otherwise these Turks will go in and massacre the democratic people, kill the Kurds who are our strong allies, and those Peshmerga have been defenders of freedom throughout that region. It would be the most brilliant stroke of the president to say, I recognize the Democratic Republic of Kurdistan, and these are their borders, and we will give them the necessary arms to defend themselves. And I read this stuff, well, Turkey is our, quote, NATO ally. Turkey is a vicious Islamic dictatorship, and Erdogan is anything but a man who loves freedom. It's time to move on this one, and we just pray that the president will, he's so distracted by this other stuff. Now, the question about impeachment, can it be done unilaterally by the Speaker? Can it be done by one or two committees? Or does it take the full vote of the House? Well, the president says, I'm going to throw down the gauntlet. Wendy, tell us about it.
That's right, Pat. The White House says no, it will not cooperate with the impeachment probe because Speaker Pelosi did not call for a vote in Congress. The House did vote on impeachment investigations into former Presidents Bill Clinton and Richard Nixon, but Pelosi argues the Constitution does not require a vote of the full House. The White House move indicates they want to put some Democrats in swing districts on the record to show that they support impeaching the president. One of those Democrats is Elaine Luria of Virginia's 2nd District. Like other members of Congress, she's holding public events to hear how their constituents feel about impeaching President Trump. Luria held a town hall last night in Virginia Beach, and CBN's Abigail Robertson was there.
Congresswoman Elaine Luria took a big political risk when she called for an impeachment inquiry with 6 other freshman colleagues. Now, the former Navy commander is back in her district to see how her constituents feel about her bold decision.
The people who have come up to me have said, we support you. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for making a decision because it was the right decision, not because there was a political calculus.
Luria says she feels supported by her constituents and stands by her decision.
Whether it has implications on my future election prospects in 2020, I want to be able to look in the mirror and look and say that I was on the right side of history and not that this had any sort of political ramifications.
In the crowd,
Trump needs to be impeached.
Support was mixed.
You got to have meat behind whatever you're doing. I don't know that there's enough meat behind it. I don't even care at this point.
While Denise Klein tells CBN News she personally supports the impeachment inquiry,
the Ukraine issue became such a front and center issue. I realized that this was time that we really had to do something.
She doesn't think the majority of the district agrees with her.
I have seen 3 letters lately where people have been quite, and the letters to the editor where people were quite upset with this decision that Representative Luria made, and 2 that have been in support.
Outside the town hall, Republicans held a counter protest.
They're sitting there looking for an opportunity to try to impeach the president instead of looking for an opportunity to work for their constituents.
Calling the impeachment inquiry a fraud.
This impeachment is going nowhere. It's clearly a fraud. It's another attempt by the Democrats to undo the election of 2016.
Congresswoman Luria is one of about 60 vulnerable Democrats the National Republican Party is targeting with big digital ad buys in 2020. Reporting from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abby. Pat, it doesn't look like there's any bipartisan support for impeachment.
Well, I don't know whether there is or not, but certainly not bipartisan. But, the problem, the 2nd District has been a strong Republican district, and it swung because of the Democrats played that health care card while the president was talking about the wall, and the American people just didn't care that much about the wall, and they lost many, many seats in the House. And therefore, you've got a swing. Now, the Republicans are fighting to win back, especially like the 2nd District of Virginia. The trouble is right now the Republicans don't have a candidate, and a person very close to us is being wooed to be a potential candidate, because they think that Elaine Luria is vulnerable, and they think some of these other, in these swing districts, the Democrat incumbents are vulnerable. So they want very much to take back the House. If they have, just think if they have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the presidency, it's going to be a whole new ballgame. Wendy?
The Freedom from Religion Foundation has filed a complaint against the judge who gave the convicted police officer a Bible in court Wednesday. She did that after Officer Amber Geiger was convicted of killing Botham Jean in his own apartment. Then his younger brother said he forgave Geiger and that the best thing would be for her to give her life to Jesus.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please.
And he did go on to hug her. After Jean hugged Geiger, Judge Tammy Kemp gave her a Bible and directed her to John 3:16 and gave her his hug as well, as you're seeing right there. But the Freedom from Religion Foundation says the judge was proselytizing and that her actions were unconstitutional. But the Dallas County District Attorney supports Judge Kemp. Pat, can you believe that?
It makes you sick at your stomach, this Freedom from Religious Foundation. I hope they lose. I hope they lose in this one. I hope they lose in everything they get involved in. And I might say that I was the founder of the American Center for Law and Justice, and one of the things is to stand up against the ACLU and their acolytes in cases just like this. But to be free from religion somehow is against the Constitution. You know, I was reading a book a couple of days ago that showed the founding documents of the Constitution of every single one of our 50 states. And there's not one of them that doesn't talk about faith in Jesus Christ. Because of our faith in the Lord Jesus, we therefore meet together to declare this our sovereign state. Every single state. And to say that it's unconstitutional for a judge to give a Bible to somebody is just outrageous. And I know I hope you share my outrage because it's very palpable. Wendy?
Pat, the calendar may say October, but so far this fall, it's been a scorcher. A heat wave broke records in the south and eastern U.S., but forecasters say some relief may be in sight. In fact, some places are about to see a swift drop in temperatures. Gary Lane has more.
Parts of the nation this week are feeling more like August than October. Record-setting high temperatures have been recorded for the month of October in the eastern Great Lakes, through the Ohio Valley, and into the Deep South. The National Weather Service reports all-time record highs were tied or set in scores of cities, from Cleveland and Indianapolis to New York and Nashville. Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and New York City are among the cities that experienced their hottest October days on record at midweek, as temperatures soared into the middle and upper 90s. In Atlanta, 97 degrees, and the high temperature in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, hit at least 100. That broke an all-time high there for the month of October. In Virginia Beach, locals enjoyed having some beach time to themselves, summertime weather without the tourists. Mindy Carlin says she'd like it to stay hot year-round.
I'm a beach girl. I love Virginia. I love the beach, and like I said, this is fine.
Brenda Roberts says she's enjoying the extended summer at the beach.
But I look forward to the fall coming as well, so it's just bonus time at the beach.
The new record high temperatures set this week followed a number of record highs set late in September in northern cities, like Cincinnati, Ohio, and Scranton, PA.
Daily record high temperatures in jeopardy. There's far too many to list here, but all the red dots indicating, again, daily records that are in jeopardy for this afternoon.
Some people told us they're ready for the heat to come to an end and for fall to kick in.
I'm kind of ready for cold weather, ready for at least fall weather by October.
I'm ready for some boots and leggings, quite honestly.
And people like Desiree Laird may soon get their wish. The heat wave won't last much longer. Temperatures are expected to remain in the 90s for parts of the south this weekend, but a drastic swing in temperatures is expected early next week, dropping as much as 50 degrees in some places as autumn and even winter-like temperatures finally kick in.
Tonight, winds subside, temperatures drop quickly, and yes, you want to bring in that sensitive vegetation as freeze warnings are out, frost advisories just west of the I-95 corridor.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Thanks, Gary. Well, CBN's Operation Blessing brings help to victims of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas and Tropical Storm Imelda in Texas. In the Bahamas, Operation Blessing teams produced and distributed hundreds of gallons of clean water in the communities of West End and High Rock and to various schools. They also help provide materials to help repair the roof and ceilings of one primary school, and Superbook is reaching out in 2 schools with activities for kids. Meanwhile, in Beaumont, Texas, Operation Blessing teams are helping people clean up after flooding from Tropical Storm Imelda. Teams are providing furniture, mildewed carpets, and rotten floor removal, tearing out and replacing damaged drywall, all the while giving spiritual comfort to the victims. 700 Club viewers Deborah Orders and her husband Eric came all the way from North Carolina to help. Deborah says she can see the difference it's making in people's lives.
They're so thankful. They're really thankful, and just their faces and how many times they thank you over and over, and it just pulls at your heartstrings and you want to do more, and it's rewarding. I'm glad we came.
And Pat, get this, Deborah and Eric celebrated 25 years of marriage this week, and they did it by going to Texas and helping people through Operation Blessing.
Thanks, Wendy. By the way, folks, Operation Blessing is looking for volunteers. After Tropical Storm Imelda, Operation Blessing is coordinating volunteer cleanup works in Beaumont, Texas. Now, if you've got to be at least 18 years old, dress appropriately. That means you've got long pants and hard-soled shoes or work boots, and bring your own transportation. And it's 800-677-7974. They'll put you to work doing something worthwhile to help those less fortunate. So that's Operation Blessing. Relief volunteer information is 800-677-7974.